Hello, my name is Dr. Becca Peixotto, and I am an archaeologist. As an archaeologist, my job is to learn about the lives of people in the past by studying the objects they left behind. We find those objects, we call them artifacts, during an excavation or dig. So basically, my job is to dig in the dirt, looking for really old trash, and use what I find to better understand aspects of our shared history as humans. Archaeology is a STEM field that combines field research and lab research. In the field, I get to do exploration and excavation with an amazing team of scientists from all over the world. In the lab, my colleagues and I analyze those artifacts we find to figure out how old they are, what they're made of, how they were made, how they were used, and all kinds of things like that. I've been lucky to be able to excavate on many different sites, such as in a cave in South Africa, where we recovered the fossils or bones of a 250,000-year-old ancient human relative. I've excavated a cornfield in Maryland, where two Native American villages were located about 800 years ago. And I've worked in a swamp in Virginia, where we're helping to learn about the lives of enslaved people who hid there in the 16, 17, and 1800s. In each of these cases, we're using the scientific process to learn about people whose stories don't really appear in our history books. And I think it's really special to be the first person in hundreds or thousands of years to see and hold an object. Maybe it's a piece of a bowl or a tool or maybe even a pendant that was last held and used by a real person just going about their daily life so long ago. A lot of people wonder, how do we know how old the artifacts are? And sometimes we use direct dating. You might have heard about carbon or C14 dating, where we can do tests on the object to determine its age. And sometimes we use relative dating. And that works because usually the oldest artifacts are buried the deepest and the more recent artifacts are closer to the surface. You could look at your laundry basket for an example of this. The soccer uniform you wore last weekend is on the bottom. Your school clothes fill it up through the week. And that t-shirt you spilled milk on this morning, that one's probably on the top. Our hypothetical laundry basket is stratified or layered, just like the soil that accumulates over hundreds and thousands of years on an archaeology site. As you excavated that laundry basket back through time to the beginning of the week, anything that wasn't laundry that you found, say the coins you left in your pocket the other day or that cell phone charger you've been looking for since Tuesday, those would be artifacts that can give us clues as to what you were doing in that time. When I find artifacts in the soil on an excavation, I need to pay close attention to the stratigraphy, those subtle differences in the different layers of soil, because it's often a huge clue as to how old the artifacts are and what people were doing on that site at that moment in the past. If archaeology is interesting to you and you're curious to give it a try, there might be a public dig near where you live that you can visit and participate in. You could ask at your local history museum or contact your state's archaeology society or historic preservation office, or do some good Google searching, internet searching for public excavation or public archaeology. There are so many things I love about being an archaeologist. I get to have adventures outdoors, do science, history, math, work with and learn from colleagues in the field, in the lab, in the archives, and in museums. Every day is different as my colleagues and I work to ask and answer questions about our shared human past. And almost anywhere you go on Earth, even in places we might think of as remote, chances are people have visited or lived in that exact same place over the millennia. That's pretty neat to think about.